Never seen one claim affect you in the eyes of FedEx. So just take a deep breath and call your insurance agent.
Hi, David. Thanks for giving me a call. How are you today?
Hey, Michelle, I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I wanted to give you a call to talk about different kinds of insurance. I know you recently switched businesses. I wanted to hear about the different insurances, new stuff that I should know as a contractor. I hear that in Linehaul, I've heard from different contractors that the insurance is a little different, sometimes a little cheaper and a little easier. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah. So to get into Linehaul or anything with FedEx requires 3 types of insurance. Workers' comp, typically the main cost driver there. That's pretty self-explanatory. One of your workers gets hurt on the job, that's there to pay their medical bills and sometimes lost wages until they're able to recover. And then EPLI, that's employment practices liability insurance. That covers you against certain types of lawsuits, whether you're supposed to pay hourly in your state and you don't pay overtime, or wrongful termination, discrimination, sexual harassment, a bevy of things that insurance covers you for. And then the truck insurance, which you mentioned, is a little bit different than an over-the-road type trucker or any other business. It's different because you cover the damage to your tractor at all times, but you only cover damage to others if your tractor is being used for personal use. And that's where it's quite a bit cheaper per year than if you started Michelle's Trucking under your own DOT and did your own work. And the cost difference is quite astonishing depending on where you're at. If you started Michelle's Trucking, you might pay $15,000 to $25,000 per tractor per year, but in the FedEx system, you're paying $2,000 to $3,000 per year, depending on how much that tractor is worth.
That is a big difference, definitely.
And that's just insurance, but I ask questions in anything. There are no dumb questions. It's a big investment and a life change, so don't hesitate to ask any questions.
I know who to reach out to if I have questions. So you mentioned workers' comp. Can you explain to me how that works and how it varies, and also what I should do as a new contractor?
One thing to understand or to realize is workers' comp is regulated, all insurance is regulated by the state. There's no universal regulation across all 50 states. So workers' comp rates vary by what state you look to buy a business in also. I know Linehaul rates can be pretty consistent in New York and Pennsylvania, for example, but the rates are not. New York could be 3 to 4 times as high as Pennsylvania. So one thing to keep in mind when you're looking at your cost of doing business as you're looking at buying routes is, what is the current contractor paying? And then talk to a good agent. What are they seeing for rates in that state? What kind of rates are they seeing across the board? Because with workers' comp, there's one thing that's always true. The coverage is the same. The state guarantees the coverage, but not every company or workers' comp carrier does business the same way. Those that do business in a more efficient manner can offer you lower rates as a business owner because they're better at doing business in that state, which is handling claims and audits or any other cost driving factor for the insurance.
You mentioned me coming in and to FedEx, I'm like a new business. If I do get a workers' comp claim, how does that affect me? How does FedEx view me? What happens if that does happen?
That's a great question. So from all of my years of doing this, I've never seen one claim affect you in the eyes of FedEx unless it was mishandled and the employee got involved with maybe trying to litigate against FedEx. But you as the business owner, the first thing you need to understand when a claim happens is it could be traumatic. So just take a deep breath and call your insurance agent. Obviously we're talking, I expect to be your insurance agent. Give me a call. Nick on our team handles all claims, so he'll get your story, find out what happened, call your employee, and file the claim, and keep track of it with the carrier, give you regular updates. So that's one less thing you as the business owner has to worry about. Now, to get to your actual question of how does it affect you, that's kind of a case-by-case basis. In some instances, it's unavoidable for that employee to be out of work, but if we can prevent them from being out of work or maybe paid by the workers' comp carrier for being out of work, that's going to really help you and your costs down the road. If we can offer them some type of light duty or have them go volunteer at a nonprofit or what have you for a couple weeks until they're fully cleared to come drive for you, yes, you're going to pay them some wages, which might hurt in the immediate term, but it's going to save you thousands, maybe tens of thousands of dollars on workers' comp premium for years. So we always take it as it comes and on a case-by-case basis. The main thing to know is you have an advocate over here and you're not on your own should that happen.
Thanks so much for giving me all this information. As a new Linehaul FedEx contractor, what else should I study and absorb right now to prepare for my business?
Well, I only handle part of the insurance. FedEx, because you're under their DOT and motor carrier number, they handle liability, which is damage to others while you're under dispatched. So the one thing that you should read, your entire contract, number one, but the Schedule G about insurance, definitely go through that. There's different types of indemnification or deductible levels depending on what happened during that accident, and just knowing your contract, knowing what you're required for safety in your truck, as well as the safety that your drivers have to do every month, making sure everybody's up to date with that. Just, boxes to check every month as part of your daily business operations that will help you keep your costs low. So obviously, that's something we can really get into when you're further along down the line as far as what FedEx requires and their deductible levels. But I'm more than willing to have that conversation with you when the time comes.
Perfect. Thank you so much. That is very helpful. I'll definitely look into that. And then whenever I'm ready for next step, give you a call.
Okay, great.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey y'all, today I reached out to David Campbell for all my insurance needs and to see what I needed to know as a new Linehaul contractor. He taught me that FedEx requires 3 different kinds of insurance. They require workers' comp for when a driver gets hurt on the job, and also the price can vary by state. I need EPLI insurance for any HR issues. I need truck insurance, which is cheaper through FedEx because they cover your truck when carrying a trailer. And last but not least, I need to review the Schedule G of the FedEx contract. Hopefully, I can get with the Linehaul Solutions team and get a contract to review ASAP. Thanks, guys. Bye.